Start with 2016 O-level paper. Right, now this is question number 5, Roman figure 3. So this question tests your knowledge of accounting equation, right? And also knowledge of accounting elements and related calculations. Okay, so this means chapter 4 and 5, right? Chapter 4 and 5, grade 10 syllabus. Right, let's read the question. Tarindu has started a business to sell school equipment. Right, now what is this? School equipment, right? Now, when you read this question, you should understand that this school equipment is the stock of Tarindu's business. Are we clear? Right? මේ කියවනකොටම තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ Tarindu sell කරන්නේ school equipment. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක යාගේ stock එක. Right? ඒක ඔන්න තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ because අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් equipment කියන්නේ පුතා අපි නිකන් study කරනකොට theory එක අපි study කරන්නේ මේක non current asset එකක් විදිහටනේ. හැබැයි then මේක ඇවිල්ලා මේ තරිඳුගේ stock එක. Right? Stock is a current asset. Can you remember? Stock is a current asset, right? Okay. So on this day, 1st of January 2016, few transactions occurred on that day are given below. Okay. So how many transactions are there? 5 transactions are there, right? Okay. So what is required now? A and B, there are 2 parts. State how each transaction influences the accounting equation. So simply, you need to show the impacts of each transaction on the accounting equation, right? Follow a format similar to the one given below to give the answers. Okay, now when you're given a format, right, you need to follow that format. You cannot change that format. So remember it. Now, for example, if you take this format, see the way they have written the accounting equation. Assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity. Right now, normally we say our equation as assets equal equity plus liabilities, no? Right? But they have changed, liabilities and equity positions. It's okay, right? Anyhow, you need to follow their equation. Are we clear? You're not going to change it. So the first thing that you do is you need to copy this table into your answer sheet. Right? Then it says first transaction has done for you. Right? First one is done. So we need to fill the rest. Right? Transaction 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. Now, as I told you before, you need to copy this table into your answer sheet. Right. Now, this is my table. Okay. I have written the transaction number, the accounting equation. I wrote in the exact way that they have given. Okay. Now we need to show the impacts of the second transaction. Right. Purchases of furniture of 20,000 rupees in cash. So what are the 2 impacts? Now you need to write in the similar way that they have written, right? They normally write the item name first and below they write the change of the value. So when the business purchases furniture on cash basis, business's cash decreases, business's furniture increase, right? Okay. So the value of furniture increases, the value of cash decreases. By how much? 20,000 rupees. So let's write furniture below plus 20,000. Right? The next impact, cash decreases by 20,000 rupees. Now, both these impacts have happened on the value of assets. Okay, right. So it took 4 rows, no, right? When we need to, follow the way that they have written, definitely it takes 4 rows. Right, third one, let's read the third transaction. What is the third one? Paying monthly rent, right? Paying monthly rent. Now this is an expense, right? To the building is 5,000 rupees. So this is simply paying building rent of 5,000 rupees. Right. Now, when the business pays building rent, what happens? The value of cash of this business decreases by 5,000 rupees. So I can write under assets, cash minus 5,000, right? And then it's better if you can align the numbers, because then easily you can, calculate and get any values if you need, right? So cash minus, and then what's the other impact? Under equity, you need to write minus 5,000, right? Now, what's the reason? This is because of building rent, right? Building rent. Due to building rent, the owner's equity reduces by 5,000 rupees. Now, be mindful, right? Equity is here. Normally in our equation, equity is here. හරි දැන් ඉතින් අමතක වෙලා එකපාරට අර පුරුද්දට මෙතන ලියන්න එපා. එහෙම ගියොත් වැරදි. මොකද liabilities යටතේ තමයි එතකොට අපි impact එක පෙන්නලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So always be mindful when you write exams. Okay? Right. Fourth transaction, obtaining a bank loan 25,000 rupees. Right? Okay, now when the business obtains a bank loan, cash value of the business increases. On the other hand, liabilities of the business also increases because of this bank loan. So how do you write these impacts? You can write cash plus, how much was the bank loan? 25,000. 25,000. And then under liabilities, right? Under liabilities, you can write bank loan, right? That's the item name. And plus 25,000 rupees. Okay. Right. Next transaction. Purchases of school equipment, 10,000 rupees on credit. Now, this is about business purchasing, right? School equipment, that means the business's stock on credit basis. So this is simply a credit purchase of this business, right? So how do you write the impacts? Now, when the business purchases stock, definitely stock of the business increases, right? So you can say stock plus, right, the particular value, 10,000 rupees, right? Then what happens? What else will happen? Now, when the business purchases on credit, right, creditors arise. So that means liabilities value, the value of liabilities increases. So under liabilities, you can say creditors and then plus 10,000. Okay. And also make sure to put the equal mark, because now this is our equation. The equal mark is here. So repeat your equal mark for each situation like this, right? And also the plus mark. Now, here actually no need to even write this plus mark because both impacts are on the left side of the equation. But anyhow, let's write, right, like this. Okay, this is our final answer, right? Now, how do they have given marks for this question? It is actually for each transaction, they have given half marks, okay? If both impacts are correct, you may give half marks for each transaction. ඒක impact එකක් හරි නම් අනිත් එක්කෙනා වැරදි නම් ලකුණු නොදීමු. අපි පොඩක් tough marking යමු. හරි? කොහොමද ඉතින් half එකකින් half එකක් ගන්න ගියාම quarters නේ පුතා. ඒකට ඒ විදිහට ලකුණු දෙන්න ගියොත් කරදරයි. ඒ නිසා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එහෙම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් impacts දෙන්නම හරි ගියාම half එක එන විදිහට අපි marks දෙන්නේ. හරි? Right. So again for this transaction another half, next one half, next one half. That means altogether you're given how many marks? 2 marks for Roman figure 3A. Okay. So give marks out of 2. Right. Shall we read the next question now? There is another part, part B, right? Right. Now there are 4 questions under B. Let's see. State the value of the following each item of Tarindu's business as at 1st of January 2016. Right. Now, all these transactions have happened on 1st of January 2016. And on this day only, he has started his business. Okay. So we are supposed to find the values of non-current assets, current assets, and total liabilities and equity of this business as at 1st of January 2016. Okay, so let's find out the first answer, right? The non-current assets value. Right. Now, when you just pay your attention to the column assets, right? So when you refer to the column asset, right? Assets, okay? You can see the assets of this business. Cash, furniture, then you have stock. So out of these assets, what are the non-current assets? We have only one non-current asset. It is furniture, right? So you should know what are non-current assets and what are current assets. If not, just refer to chapter 4 theory, okay? Right. So all we have is furniture. So the value of furniture is 20,000. So you can simply write your answer like this. Non-current assets equal 20,000 rupees. This is your answer. Okay? Right. The next question is you need to find the current assets. Right now, in this case, you have several current assets, isn't it? You have cash, you have what else? Stock. So there are 2 current assets. Now, if you take the cash, can you see from transaction 1, 2, 3, even 4, right? The value of cash changes because of these transactions. So you need to find out the net value of cash. Are we clear? දැන් මේක තේරෙනවද? දැන් මෙතනදී අහනවනේ පුතා current assets total එක. එහෙම අහනකොට අපි දැන් බලන්න ඕනේ මෙතන අපිට පේනවා transaction 1 2 3 4 කියන transaction හතරෙන්ම cash value එක change වෙනවා. නේ? ඒතර එහෙමනම් මේ හතර දෙනා ඉවර වුණාට පස්සේ අපිට ලැබෙන net value එක තමයි ඔයගේ final value එක cash වලට එන. Right? Shall we calculate the net value of cash? Now pay your attention. Here we have plus 50,000. Right? From the second transaction, cash reduces by 20,000 rupees. So what's the net value? 30,000 rupees. Right? Then again minus 5,000. So this means 30,000 minus 5,000. 25,000, right? Then we have plus 25,000. So this means 25,000 plus 25,000, 50,000. හරි මේ cash value එක ගන්න හැටි තේරෙනව නේද? දැන් මෙතන 50,000 වලින් value එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අඩු වෙනවා 20,000 වලින්. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතෙන්ට විතරක් ගත්තාම 30,000 value එක. හරි ඊට පස්සේ transaction එකෙන් 5,000ක් ආපහු අඩු වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 25,000. Again fourth එකෙන් 25,000ක් වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 50,000යි දැන් 50,000 value එක. So in this question it's better if you can show your answer in this format, right? You are going to write rupees on the right side and you say cash and write the net value of cash. It is actually, we found it, it's 50,000. And then below you can show them the stock value. So here the stock value is only 10,000. The transaction when a transaction hinda stock එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක transaction එකයි තියෙන්නේ. එකෙන් වෙන්නේ stock එක business එකට එනවා. හරි ඒ කියන්නේ 10,000 worth of stock. Right? So what's the net value of the total value of current assets? It is 60,000. ඉතින් මේ වගේ double lines අස්සේ double lines you can show 60,000 rupees and in front write that this is your current assets or total current assets. Okay, next question is total liabilities. Now pay your attention to liabilities, the column liabilities. We have a bank loan and creditors. So all you need is to add these two values, right? It will become, what is it? 35,000, right? So it's better, as I told you, just try to, write your answer in detail because it's very helpful when you write your answer in detail. I'll explain later on. Okay, right. Third question, the answers. Again, rupees over here. You say bank loan, this much, 25,000 rupees. And then creditors, 10,000 rupees. Altogether, we have 35,000 rupees of liabilities. So in front of the final answer, you can tell total liabilities. Right. Let's quickly answer the next question. It is actually, we need to find the equity of this business. Right. Now, if you consider the equity, we see that there is capital, right? Capital. Because of capital, the equity increases. Because of the building rent, equity decreases. So what's your final value of equity? It is plus 50,000 minus 5,000 means plus 45,000. So the value is 45,000 rupees, right? So again, I'm going to show this in detail like this. I say capital here, right? It's 50,000 rupees. And then below, I write building rent. And the building rent, the equity decreases. So in that case, I write this figure within brackets. And then I show that the equity value is 45,000 equity, right? So this is my answer. Right. Then මතකද මාර කලින් කිව්වේ answer එකක් ටිකක් detail ඇතුව පෙන්නන එක අපේ ඇඟට හුණයි. ඒකේ හේතුව පුතා දැන් ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් මෙතනදී ඔයාට 60,000 කියන්නේ paper එකේ තියෙනවා නම් current assets වලට total liabilities වලට 35,000 තියෙනවා නම් equity වලට 45,000 තියෙනවා නම් ඔයාට කෙලින්ම marks එනවා. හරි? They have given marks actually half marks for each final answer. Okay, But Puta, now let's say you're given 1 mark for these questions, right? Let's say you have written the cash value incorrectly here. Let's say you just took it as 40,000, but you wrote the stock value properly. And let's say දැන් මෙතන 40 නම් මෙතන 10 නම් එතකොට ඔයාගේ final answer එක 50,000 නේ. හරි? ඔන්න එතකොට ඔයාට final answer එකට කොහොමද ලකුණු නැහැ. හැබැයි සමහර වෙලාවට right? අර ඔයාගේ අර steps වල එක දෙයක් හරිනේ stock value එක හරි. එතකොට half එකක් සමහර වෙලාවට ඔයාට sympathy ලැබෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒසයි මම කියන්නේ ඔයාට හැමතිස්සෙම detail ඇතුව අපේ answer එක පෙන්නන එක අපිට වාසි. අපිට කියන්නේ වාට. හරි? Right. So anyhow, this is how they have given marks. Okay? Right. So altogether, how many marks will be? 4 halves. Again, 2 marks. So give your marks. Put your final marks. So for Roman figure 3, they have allocated 4 marks. Right? So 4 marks. So remember, using the knowledge of chapter 4 and chapter 5, they normally give a question in O-level paper under question number 5, usually under question number 5. And the maximum marks for this question is 4 marks, normally 4 marks. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next O-level paper, 2017 O-level. Question number 5 again, Roman figure 3. Right, let's read. Following shows the balances of assets, liabilities, and right. Then what's the other impact? Liabilities increased by 25,000 rupees. Within brackets, it's bank loan. So what is this? Obviously, it's so easy. This is about obtaining a bank loan, right? So let's write this. Now, when you write the transaction, you can follow the SVO pattern, right? Normally, when it comes to writing transactions, we normally do not use the subject, but we do use on as the subject when it comes to capital introduction and drawings, right? Other than that, normally we initiate with the relevant verb. So I normally write in the past tense, or you can write as a noun or by using ing, right? So let's write like this: obtained a bank loan of 25,000 rupees. Simple, right? They have quantified the transaction. So in your answer, you need to quantify number 1. What is number 1 transaction? Obtained. This is the verb in the past tense. Obtained. Then what is the object? The object is a bank loan, right? What's the value? 25,000 rupees. So let's say of 25,000 rupees. Okay. So this is the first transaction. Okay. The next one is, let's go through the impacts. Right. Now we can see that there are 3 impacts. Stock decreased by 10,000 rupees. Stock decreases by 10,000 rupees. Then debtors value increases by 15,000 rupees. And also, can you see the equity increases by 5,000 rupees because of profit. So what is this? This is a sale done by the business which resulted in a profit, isn't it? Right? මේ තියෙන්නේ business එක profit එකක් earn කරන්න earn කරපු transaction එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ stock එක sell කරලා profit එක earn කරලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක අපි බලන්න ඕනේ stock එක විකුණලා තියෙන්නේ සල්ලි වලටද නැත්නම් ණයටද? ඒක අපිට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් මෙන්න මෙතනින්. debtors කියලා දීලා තියෙනවා කියන්නේ පුතා අනිවාර්යෙන් stock එක sell කරලා තියෙන්නේ ණයට. Right? Yeah, මෙතන cash කියලා තියෙනවා නම් එහෙනම් definitely stock එක sell කරලා තියෙන්නේ සල්ලි වලට. Cash basis. Now if you refer to this impact, you can see that the value of stock decreases by 10,000 rupees. Right? Now, what about this one? Now, it says debtors. So debtors means this sale of stock has done based on credit basis. If you have cash instead of debtors, that means this is a cash sale. Okay? Right. So how do you write this transaction now? Sold, right? Stock of goods. Now, sold is the verb in the past tense. Stock of goods is our object, right? At how much? Let's see. Sold stock of goods. What's the value of debtors now? 15,000. At 15,000 rupees. Right. Then make sure to use these two words on credit. Or you can say on credit basis. Right? දැන් මේ words දෙක ඕනනම් අපිට මෙන්න මෙතෙන්ට තියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ sold stock of goods on credit at this much. Right? So this sale is a credit sale. Okay? Right. Sold stock of goods at 15,000 rupees on credit. Then you had to say which means we are talking about the stock. Which were purchased at. Okay? Purchased at how much? 10,000 rupees. Stock එක reduce වෙන්නේ 10,000 වලින්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ stock එකේ වටිනාකම 10,000. හරි sale එක කරන්නේ 15,000 වලට on credit. ඒ කියන්නේ debtors 15,000 වලින් එන්නේ. නේද? Right. So this is our transaction. You don't need to write about the profit when you have to write this transaction. Because profit is the result of this transaction, no? Right? So no need to, write about this profit because the profit is implied here because it is the result of this transaction. තේරෙනවද කියන දේ? දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මෙතන profit එකක් තියෙන එක හරිනේ. ඒ profit එක මෙච්චරයි කියන එක මේ transaction එක ඇතුලේ අපි work කරලා ලියන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද profit එක කියන්නේ පුතා මෙතන ප්‍රතිඵලය නැත්නම් result එක. මේ transaction එකේ result එක. ඒතර ඒ දේවල් අපි ලියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක කියවෙන කෙනාට ඇඟ වෙන විදිහට තමයි ලියන්නේ. හරි implied කියලා කිව්වේ ඒකයි. හරි it is implied. Okay. Right, let's write the third transaction. For that, we need to look at the impacts. Right, third transactions. Impacts are cash minus equity minus because of rent. Right. So this is about paying rent, right? Right. So you can write paying rent or you can say paid rent. Right. I normally write in the past tense by using the verb and write it in the past tense. Paid rent, right? Or you can say paid rent expense. Even rent is enough because it is paid, no? So paid rent, how much? 7,000 rupees, no? Paid rent of 7,000 rupees. Okay? Simple one, right? Next transaction. What are the impacts? Cash minus, creditors minus. Right, what is this? This is paying to a creditor, right? Right, so we can write again, paid. Right, now what is your object? Your object should be a cash amount. What's the cash amount given in the impacts? 6,000, right? Paid 6,000 rupees to a creditor. Or you can say to creditors, but I'm going to write a creditor because probably it has to be one person. No, right. So this is these are our transactions, and we wrote all the transactions. Right. There is part B. No. Right. Let's see. Stating separately increase or decrease of total assets, total equity during the week. Right. Now, do you understand this question? Right. Now, this means, can you see there is an opening balance for assets and equity and also liabilities? No. Right. Okay. Now, then during the first week of January, what happened? 4 transactions took place. So you should be able to understand that after these 4 transactions, definitely the assets value and the equity value and also liabilities value change, right? It's obvious. Now, if you take assets, right? The opening balance is 200,000 as at 1st of January 2017. Once these 4 transactions took place, what happens? What is the value of assets now? So you call this closing balance. Can you remember? So what is the closing balance of assets after these 4 transactions? So you can calculate like this. Concentrate on the sign, right? Plus 25,000. That means 200,000 plus 25,000. It is 225,000. Then minus 10,000 means obviously it should be 215,000. Again, plus 15,000 means it has to be 230,000. Then minus 7 means, what is it? 223,000, right? And then again minus 6 is actually how much? It's 217,000. So our closing balance of assets is 217,000 rupees. Opening balance is this much. So they ask us, stating separately increase or decrease of total assets and equity. Right. So when we pay attention to assets, we can see that. What can you see? What has happened to assets value? It has been increased, right? Increased by how much? From 200,000 to 217,000. That means by 17,000 rupees, the total assets has been increased. So you can write that sentence, right? Let's write like this. I'll write here, right? Total assets has been increased by 17,000 rupees. Earlier it was 200,000 rupees. After the 4 transactions, now it is 217,000 rupees. Right? තේරුණා නේද ඒ කියන දේ? දැන් ඔතන කියන්නේ අර දැන් මුලින්ම තියෙනවානේ opening balance එක. ඊට පස්සේ transaction 4ක් වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට හොඳටම තේරෙනවා transaction 4ෙන් අර තියෙන opening balances වල values වෙනස් කරනවා. නේ අපි ඒක දන්නවනේ transactions නිසා asset values, equity values, liability values වෙනස් වෙනවා පුතා. ඒතර මේ business එකේ මුලින් asset value එක තියෙනවා ජනවාරි 1 වෙනිදා වෙනකොට ලක්ෂ 2ක්. හැබැයි transaction 1 2 3 4 වලින් ඇත්තටම asset values වෙනස් වෙනවා. cash නිසා වෙනස් වෙනවා, stock නිසා වෙනස් වෙනවා, debtors නිසා වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒව වෙනස් වෙනවා අන්තිමට transaction 4 ඉවර වෙනකොට. ඒ කියන්නේ හරියට මේ question එක අනුව නම් පළවෙනි week එක ඉවර වෙනකොට ජනවාරි, කියන්නේ date එකක් විදිහට කිව්වොත් as at 7th of January මොකද වෙන්නේ? closing balance එක ඇවිල්ලා 217,000 වලට එන්නේ. දැන් calculate කරපු හැටි වාට තේරුණානේ නේද? මේ plus minus අරගෙන ටක් ගාලා මේ simplify කරන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එතකොට ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා ඇති asset value එක තිබ්බට වඩා වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා. නේ transaction 4 ඉවර වුණාට පස්සේ. වුණාට පස්සේ ඉවර වුණා නෙමෙයි. වුණාට පස්සේ. right. ඉතින් මෙහෙම ලියුවා නම් හරි. Okay? Then again we need to find what has happened to this total equity. So let's see. The opening balance of equity is 150,000. Then it is it is increased by 5,000. So it has to be 155,000. Then minus 7 means you need to decrease it now. How much? It's 148,000. Right? The closing balance of equity is 148,000 rupees. So what has happened to equity? It has been decreased, right? අඩු වෙලා නේද equity value එක අඩු වෙලා. මේ බලන්න opening balance එක මෙච්චරයි 150,000. Closing balance එක දැන් අඩු වෙලා 150,000 වලට වඩා අඩුයිනේ 148,000. So by how much? කීයකින්ද අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? 2,000 වලින්. So again you can write this answer like this. Total equity has been decreased by 2,000 rupees. Okay? Right? Right, now how to give marks? So altogether 4 marks. That means definitely for A we need to give 2 marks and for B we need to give 2 marks. So when it comes to B, you can give 1 mark each, right? For B. And for A, you can give half mark each, right? Because we have 4 transactions. So here half a mark, here also half, another half, and another half. Altogether 2 marks for A and 2 marks for B. Okay? Right? So I wrote answers for B there, right? Under the question. So this is 2017 O level. Now, if you compare 2016 and 17, what can you understand? In 2016, the student was supposed to write the impacts of given transactions. But when it comes to 2017, the student was supposed to write the transaction when the impacts were given. දැක්කනේ ද වෙනස? හරි. දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ ස්කිල් එක හොඳටම හදාගන්න එපානේ පුතා. ඒ කියන්නේ transaction එක දුන්නාම ඔයාට impacts ලියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. impacts දුන්නාම transaction එක අඳුනගෙන ඒක ලියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නත් ඕනේ. 2016 ළමයින්ගෙන් ඇහුවේ transactions දීලා ඒකේ impacts ලියන්න. ඒතර 2017 ඇහුවේ impacts ටික දීලා transactions ලියන්න. 2018 O level question. Again, this is question number 5. Following are some transactions occurred in Samantha's business, which sells electric equipment for the month ended 31st of January 2018. Right now, here are the transactions occurred during the month of January in Samantha's business. And can you see this business sells electric equipment? So this means electric equipment is the stock of this particular business. Okay, that is the first thing that you have to consider. Right. So as you can see, there are 5 transactions occurred. So we are required to indicate how each of above transactions influenced accounting equation. Use the following format in answering. So you are given a format, right? First transaction has been done for you. So you have to follow the format here, right? So what you do first is you need to copy this table into your answer sheet, right? And also you have to record the first transaction, and then you need to answer second transaction, from second transaction to fifth transaction. Right. So now what I do is I'm going to discuss the answers and write the answers in this table, right? On the paper itself, actually, right? Right. Now let's read the second transaction, because first one is already done. No, it's obtaining a bank loan. So you know cash increases, and also the liabilities increase, and it is bank loan. Right. The next one. The next transaction is purchasing electric equipment of 50,000 rupees on credit. Now, what is this? In short term, you can call it as a credit purchase. Now, we know that electric equipment is the stock of this business. So, this is merely purchasing stock on credit basis, right? So, how do you record this transaction? What are the impacts of this transaction? Definitely, when the business purchases stock value increases, right? So under stock, you can write plus, what's the value? 50,000, plus 50,000. And then this is a credit purchase. Nayata purchase karanne. So in that case, we know that creditors arise in the business. So this means the value of creditors increases. So we need to increase the value of creditors by 50,000 rupees. Okay, right. So if let's stuff mark your paper, right? So if both impacts are correct, give half mark. Okay, give a half mark. And the next one, paying 8,000 rupees to creditors in cash. So this is merely a cash payment to creditors. So what happens? The value of cash decreases, also the value of creditors decreases. Very easy. By how much? By 8,000 rupees. So under cash, I write minus 8,000. Now when you record values, make sure to align the numbers, right? Then under creditors, we have to write minus 8,000. Okay, right. And again, half mark. Then next one, fourth transactions in a stock of electric equipment for this much, which costs 25,000 rupees. So what is this transaction? This is a sale of stock, right? And there is a, what's the result of this transaction? There is a profit, right? So how do you record this transaction? You need to decrease the value of stock by 25,000 and increase. Now, what type of a sale is this? Is it a cash sale or a credit sale? They haven't mentioned on credit word. Even there is no name of a party, the customer, right? So in that case, we need to assume that this is a cash sale, right? So cash, the value of cash increases by 40,000. And what's the value of profit? You need to find the difference, right? The difference. 40,000 minus 25,000 is 15,000. So our profit amount is 15,000. And we know that profit leads to increase equity, right? The assets belongs to the owner, right? So this is how you record the impacts. Under stock, let's write minus 25,000, and then under cash plus 40,000, and then under equity plus 15,000. Okay, that's it. And then the fifth transaction, withdrawing of 5,000 in cash by Samantha for his personal use. Now, what do you call this transaction in short terms? You call it cash drawing, right? This is a cash drawing. So it's 5,000 rupees. So what happens? Cash value of the business decreases by, this is stock, no? Right, let's erase. The cash value of this business decreases by 5,000. And we know that drawings lead to decrease equity, right? So under equity, you need to write minus 5,000. Okay, cash decreases, equity decreases, right? So again, half mark each. Okay, so in total, you are getting 2 marks for A, part A, and there is part B as well. Okay? Right, let's move on to the second part, part B. They asked what are the values of following items of Samantha's business as such. Look at the date, right? 31st of January 2018. Now, if you look at this table, can you see, Puta? They have given balances as at 1st of January 2018. So what do you call this balance? This is opening balance. These are opening balances, right? So let's write OB, right? These are opening balances. That means month beginning balances. So in simple terms, at the beginning of January, Samantha has, right, these values. Furniture and equipment, 160,000 rupees. Stock value is 70,000 rupees, and likewise. And can you see, if you consider the opening balance of bank loan, there is no opening balance. Why? Because only on this from this particular transaction only, this business receives a bank loan, right? කියන දේ තේරෙනවද? දැන් මේ තියෙන්නේ සමන්තගේ business එකේ ජනවාරි මාසේ පටන් ගන්නකොට මෙන්න මේ values තියෙනවා. අපි කියන්නේ opening balances. දැන් උදාහරණයක් stock එක රුපියල් 70,000ක value එකකින් තියෙනවා. ඒ 70,000ක් වටින 70,000 rupees worth of stock. හරි? ඒ වගේම cash value එක තියෙනවා 25,000 rupees. හැබැයි bank loan එක බැලුවහම ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා එතන dash එකක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ තාම bank loan එකක් business එකට ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. කියන්නේ already bank loan එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි අපිට පේනවා first transaction එකෙන් business එකට loan එකක් එනවා. හරි? business එකට loan එකක් එනවා. ඉතින් B එකේ අහන්නේ මෙන්න මේ items වල values. As at 31st of January 2018. So this means at the month end, you're supposed to provide the values of these items. Right. So first one is you need to find the current assets. Right. So here you need to find out the current assets of this business. Now these are the assets of the business, no? Furniture and equipment, stock and cash. So what are the current assets? Only stock and cash. So you have to find the closing balance of stock at the month end, right? And also cash closing balance, and you need to add them together. So you can find the current assets. Are we clear? Right. So now let's go through the column stock, right? And let's find out the closing balance here. We can, do a little rough work on the paper itself and find the values, right? Or you can show them the closing balance, but not necessary actually, right? So I'm not going to show it, but නිකම් මම මේ ලියනවා. දැන් මේ හොයන්නේ month end closing balance එක. Make a closing balance. We call it closing balance. Closing balance as at when? As at the end of the month. So that means 31st of January 2018, right? So when you consider the column stock, you can find that there is an opening balance of 70,000. Then stock value increase 50,000, then decreases by 25,000. So what's your net value now? So that is, you call it the closing balance, right? 70,000 plus 50,000 is 120,000. From that, you need to deduct 25,000. Then කොච්චර එනවද? Right? 25 අයින් කරාම 95,000, right? You better double check. හරි හැමතිස්සෙම double check කරන්න. ඒක තමයි හොඳම වැඩේ. බලන්න මේ දෙන්න add කරලා බලන්න 120 එනවද කියලා. Right? You get it 120, no? When you add 25 and 95. Right. Now, how do you present your answer? You can straight away, right. Anyhow, the stock closing balance is 95,000. Now, again, you need to find the closing balance of cash. So let's find out. 25,000 of an opening balance, right? An opening balance of 25,000 rupees. Then it is increases by this much, 100,000. So it will become 125. Taking 8 අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ නේ. You need to deduct 8,000 from this. So this will become 7 and 11, right? And then for this, you need to add 40,000, right? It will become 157,000. And from this, you need to deduct 5, right? So you get 152,000. So this is the cash closing balance. Month-end balance should be 152,000. Okay, so you need to add these two, and you will arrive at the current assets value. Right, now when you present your answer, obviously you can write the final answer. But in case if your final answer is incorrect, at least you can score half marks if you present your answer in detail. So let's present our answer in detail like this. හරි බලන්න මේක මේ විදිහට ලියමු අපි. B1, right? So you can put rupees here, and you are going to write one of the current assets of this business is stock, and then you write the final or the closing balance of stock, right? It is 95,000. Then you present them the cash value, the cash closing balance. It's 152,000, and show them the addition. And for the addition, you call it current assets. Okay, current assets. Or you can say total current assets. So let's say just current assets. And what's the value now? 527. And this is 42. It's 247,000 rupees. That's the value of current assets of whose business? Samantha's business. Right? Now you're given 4 marks here. Right? 4 marks means for the first one you are given for 1 mark. ඉතින් මං කලින් කිව්වේ ඒකයි. දැන් හදිසියවත් අපි හිතමු ඔයාලට ෆයිනල් ආන්සර් එක හරියට එඩිෂන් එක ගන්න බැරුව වැරදියට ගන්න. හරි? අපි හිතමු මෙතන නිකන් ඔයාලට මේක ලිය වෙනවා 248,000 කියලා. හැබැයි මේ ස්ටෙප්ස් දෙක ගැන කන්සිඩර් කරලා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මාර්ක් ඔයාලට half mark එකක් දෙන්න ඉඩ තියෙනවා. Right, so here again they have given 2 marks for part B. So if you have the final answer correctly, you are given a half mark. Okay, right, so I'm going to write the answers for the second one here. So what's the second one? We need to find then the non-current asset, and it's obvious that the only non-current asset in this business is furniture and equipment, and the closing balance will be the same, because can you see the value of this particular non-current asset does not change because of transactions. So it will be the same, which means 160,000 rupees. ඉතින් ඒක එහෙමම ලියමු අපි. ඉතින් හොඳම දේ non-current assets කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් ලියලා equal mark එක දාලා answer එක දාමු. Right? Equal what? Rupees 160,000. Again, you are given half mark for this. Right, next one. Third one. current liabilities. How many current liabilities in this business? Once again, only one, right? It's creditors, right? So you need to find the closing balance now. Let's find opening balance of 20,000 rupees, then 50,000. The value of creditors increases by 50,000, so it will become 70,000. Again, adu wenawa, decrease wenawa. So by 8,000, that means 62,000. Okay? Closing balance of the creditors is creditors value. The creditors closing balance is 62,000 rupees. So we write the same value. Current liabilities. So if you have two current liabilities, show the answer in detail like this. So you have only one, current liability. So you just put the, final answer. I mean the closing balance of creditors, right? 62,000 rupees and half mark. Again a half mark. Okay. Okay, there is another question. Non-current liabilities, again, we have only one non-current liability. It is bank loan. There is 100,000 worth of a bank loan, and it doesn't change after obtaining the bank loan, right? So it will be the same now. The closing balance is the same, 100,000, right? And your answer is 100,000 rupees. So again, we'll write fourth one, non-current liabilities. 100,000 rupees. Half mark again. So altogether 2 marks for B. And for the full question, you are getting 4 marks. Okay? Okay, let's discuss 2019 all-level question. Again, question number 5, Roman figure 3. Following now how 4 transactions of Sahan's business impacted on the accounting equation. Right. So can you see? There are 4 transactions. And the impacts of these transactions are given. Right. Further, it says further, as at 1st of October 2019, Sahan's business total assets are 250,000 rupees. Okay. So what is this? What is this 250,000 rupees? This is the opening balance of assets as at 1st of October. October මාසේ පටන් ගන්නකොට assets මුළු වටිනාකම 250,000 rupees. Again, opening balance එක. And also total liabilities are 50,000 rupees. Here again, the opening balance of liabilities is 50,000 rupees. Right. What is required? Writing the above 1, 2, 3, 4 transactions with values. Of course, when you are asked to write transactions, you need to include the values. Okay. Right. So let's find out the transactions. We need to identify the transaction by using the impacts given. Right. Right. The first transaction impacts are stocks plus 15,000. Right. This means the value of stock increases by 15,000 rupees. Assets increase, right? And liabilities also increase, and this liability is creditors. So what should be this transaction? Right? Stock increase means it has to be purchase of stock, right? නේද සාමාන්‍යයෙන් stock එක business එකේ වැඩි වෙන්නේ stock එකේ වටිනාකම business එකේ වැඩි වෙන්නේ business එක stock එක purchase කරනකොට. And on the other hand, can you see creditors value also increases. So this means this has to be a credit purchase. Right? Then make a අපි තු මෙතනදිම cash value එක decrease වෙනවා නම් ඒක cash purchase එකක්. හැබැයි creditors ලා increase වෙනවා කියන්නේ මේක credit purchase එකක්. So how do you write a credit purchase? Right now, when you are to write the answers, you can write like this. You should definitely use the transaction number. Okay, so this is A and transaction number is 1. And what is 1 now? You can say purchased, or you can say purchasing. Even I normally write in past tense, right? Purchased what? A stock of goods. Okay, stock of goods on credit, or you can say at this much on credit, or on credit at, whatever the value. So at 15,000 rupees on credit. So you have to use the two words on credit. If you do not write on credit, it is implied as a cash transaction. Okay, so make sure to use on credit or on credit basis. Right, let's find out the second transaction. Look at the impacts. This is furniture plus cash minus. So easy. It's about purchasing furniture on cash basis. Right, so you can say purchased. Right, here the spelling is wrong. Purchased, it should be here. Right, purchased. Purchase what? It's furniture. You can say at 25,000 rupees. And if you want, you may write on cash basis. Even without the words, it is implied as a cash transaction. But anyhow, let's write. It's better, no? Right? On cash basis. Here also you can say on credit basis. Or on credit is enough, but let's write like this. Right, next one. What are the impacts? Right, can you see there are 3 impacts? Stock decrease, debtors increase. Stock decreases, debtors increase. Here equity increases because of profit, right? So what is this transaction? How do you write this now? Now this has to be, now when stock decreases means it's a sale of stock. මත තියන්න දැන් stock එක increase වෙන්නේ stock එක purchase කරනකොටනේ. එහෙනම් stock එක decrease වෙන්න ඕනේ stock එක sell කරනකොට. හරි? දැන් කොහොමද stock එක sell කරලා තියෙන්නේ cash basis නෙමෙයි. cash basis නම් මෙතනට cash එන්නේ. දැන් debtors ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා කියන්නේ පුතා sale එක කරලා තියෙන්නේ on credit. So this has to be a credit sale. Are we clear? So how do you write this? You can write like this. Sold, right? Sold what? Stock of goods. At how much? At 12,000 rupees, right? 12,000 rupees on credit basis. I write just on credit. And then you have to say which were purchased at. That means this particular stock was purchased at, right? How much? At 10,000 rupees, right? 10,000 rupees. Now, instead of saying stock of goods, you can just write, goods even, right? That's okay. So, all goods at this much on credit, which were purchased at 10,000 rupees. But it's better to say stock of goods, right? Okay, now the fourth one, right? Again, you have 3 impacts. Cash minus. Then because of discount received, equity increases. And then the liabilities decreases because of creditors. So what is this transaction? This is obviously a cash discount. Okay, this is a cash discount. Now normally It says discount received, no? So this means this is a discount received by the business. From whom? From the creditors. Right? In which situation does a business receive a discount received from its creditors? In which situation? So obviously when the business tries to settle its due amount to the creditors. When the business makes cash payment to its creditors, right? Right. So how do you write this transaction? Now simply you can write like this. Paid this much to creditors and discount received is this much. That's the easiest way to write this transaction. And also there are, different ways. Anyhow, according to the marking scheme, we can write like this. When settling, now you tell me, how much is the due amount to the creditors? It is 10,000. Creditor ණය වෙච්ච මුදල තමයි 10,000. Discount එක 1000යි. එතකොට ඇත්තටම business එක ගෙවන්නේ රුපියල් 9,000යි. Are we clear? The total due amount is 10,000 and the discount received amount is 1,000. This means the cash payment to the creditors should be 9,000 only. So you can write like this. When settling 10,000 rupees, now let's say you can say to a creditor, or you can write in plural using to creditors. Creditors, when settling this much to creditors, right? You can put a comma and you can say how much is the discount amount? 1,000. The discount of how much? 1,000 rupees received. බලන්න මේ කියපු දේ තේරුණාද කියලා? රුපියල් 10,000ක මුදලක් ක්‍රෙඩිටර්ස් ලට ගෙවන්න යද්දි රුපියල් 1000ක ඩිස්කවුන්ට් එකක් හම්බුණා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම ගෙවන්නේ 9,000යි. හරි? නැත්නම් අර මම සිම්ප්ලි කිව්වා වගේ සිම්ප්ලි ලියන්න පුළුවන් රුපියල් 9,000ක් ක්‍රෙඩිටර්ස් ලට ගෙවුවා 1000ක ඩිස්කවුන්ට් එකක් ලැබුණා. Cash paid to creditors 9,000, discount received 1,000 rupees. Right? But anyhow, the simplest way was not mentioned in the marking scheme. So that's why I took this way. When settling this much to creditors, a discount of 1,000 rupees received. Or instead of 1,000, you can put the discount percentage. So how do you find the discount percentage? It's simply the due amount is 10,000. The discount amount is 1,000. So what's the percentage? මෙහෙම බලන්න. 10,000 වලට 1,000 discount එකක් තියෙනවා නම් as a percentage means you have to multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So when you cancel the zeros, you get 10%. So discount as a percentage is 10% from the due amount. Of the due amount. 10% of the due amount. හරිද? එහෙමනේ 1000 එන්නේ නේද? 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. So instead of using a discount of this much, you can write the percentage. Right? 10% discount was received or just received. 10% discount received. Okay? So you can write the percentage even instead of writing the amount of the discount. Are we clear? Because there are different ways to write this transaction. Right? Right. Anyhow, according to the marking scheme, they have given half mark each. Again, can you see now every question had only 4 marks, right? Roman figure 3, 4 marks for Roman figure 3. So half each, right? So that means for A, you have 2 marks in total. Right. Now what is B? State the basic accounting equation of business with values as at 5th of October 2019 after recording the above transactions. So simply they ask you the closing balance. Right, now when you have to calculate the closing balance, make sure to include the opening balances as well. Can you all remember? Here they have given the opening balances as well. You have the asset opening balance as well as the liabilities opening balance. Now when you're given the assets and liabilities, what can you find? You can easily find equity balance, equity opening balance. So you need to find the difference between these two values. 250,000 minus 50,000 means the equity value. And it is exactly 200,000 rupees, right? So you can present your answer like this. Now for B, let's write first of all our accounting equation. Assets in rupees equal to equity, right, in rupees plus liabilities, right? And of course, after doing the calculations, you can just put the final answers. And if the final answers are correct, you are given full marks. But as I told you, always try to, write your answer in detail for your own safety. Okay, right. So first what I do is I mention the opening balances of each element, right? So we can put the date to mention the opening balances. So as at 1st of October 2019, assets opening balance is 250,000 rupees, right? And equity balance is we found by deducting liabilities from the assets, it's 200,000. දැන් හැමතිස්සෙම මතක තියාගන්න හරි. equity දීලා නැත්නම් ඒක අපිට හොයාගන්නනේ තියෙන්නේ. හරි ඉතින් අපි simply දන්නවා equity හොයන්නේ assets වලින් liabilities අයින් කරාම. ඉතින් ඒක අමුතුවෙන් equity balance එක වෙනම දෙන්නේ නැහැ පුතා. ඔයාට හොයන්න තමයි එන්නේ. හැමතිස්සෙම මතක තියාගන්න assets උයි එක්තරා නිශ්චිත දිනයකට assets දීලා තියෙනවා නම් liabilities දීලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒ දෙන්නගේ difference එක තමයි. ඒ කියන්නේ assets වලින් liabilities අයින් කරාට පස්සේ එන answer එක තමයි ඔයාගේ equity balance එක. හරි. ඉතින් ඒකත් අපි හොයාගෙන ඊට පස්සේ අපි පෙන්නනවා liabilities balance එක 50,000. හරිනේ. ඉතින් දැන් මේ equation එක balance මේ පේනවනේ. Then ඊළඟට next what we do is we need to get the closing balance. I mean the net value of these transactions. Now because of these transactions, asset value changes, even equity value and also liabilities value. ඉතින් මෙතනදී දැන් මේ values වල net value එක අරගෙන ඒක අපිට පුළුවන් paper එකේම මෙතන කටු කරලා ගන්න. ටක් ගාලා calculate කරලා ගන්න. Now how much is the asset net value? Plus 15. Now if you consider this plus 25 minus 25, you can cancel now, right? Minus 10 plus 12 means it's plus 2, right? Plus 2. So plus 15 plus 2 means plus 17. And minus 9 means how much? 8, right? So your net value of assets is 8,000 and it's a plus figure, right? Positive figure. And what about equity? Plus 2 plus 1 plus 3,000, right? Liabilities plus 15 minus 10 means plus 5,000, right? And now what you do is, now this particular answering method is given in the marking scheme, right? So you can write now below the opening balances, you can write these values with the sign actually, right? Plus 8,000 under assets, plus 3,000 under equity, and also plus 5,000 under liabilities. And then you can show them The closing balance as at, they say as at 5th of October. So as at 5th of October, no need to say closing balance and opening balance there, right? If you want, you may write. You can write now, when you add 8 to 250, it will become 258,000. Now no need to put a sign, right? For the closing balance, no need to put a sign. And then when you add these two, you get 203,000, right? And then always, follow the signs in the accounting equation, and the liabilities become 55,000. So does our accounting equation balance? Yes, of course, right? Assets total is equal to, it is equal to equity plus liabilities. Now you can put a line here for you to show them that you are like adding the above two values. And for the answer, we can put double lines, right? That's it. Right, my lines are crooked, right? Right, can you see this is the marking scheme? Right, now this is how they have given marks. Half marks for mentioning these two values. 1 mark for mentioning these two values, right? And half a mark for these two values. Or if you have mentioned properly the final values, right? Assets is this much, half a mark. Equity value, they have given 1 mark because we need to find the opening balance also. No? And liability is half, right? So check your answers. If you have, taken the assets value correctly, you can give half a mark. Equity value correctly, 1 mark. Liabilities value correctly, another half mark, altogether 2 marks. So for Roman figure 3 receives 4 marks in total. Okay, so this is 2019 O-level question, right? Okay, next paper, 2020 O-level paper. Again, question number 5, Roman figure 3. Following are the balances of all the assets and liabilities of Chamara's business as at 1st of January 2020. So what are these balances? These are opening balances. As at when? As at 1st of January 2020. Furniture, it's an asset. Then stock, asset. Creditors, it's a liability. Bank loan, it's a liability. Once again, cash. Once again, an asset, it is cash. And here are the amounts of opening balances. Okay. And then it says some transactions occurred for the week ended 1st of January 2020 are as follows. Right. So we are given 3 transactions. And then we are required to indicate how the above transactions are affected on the accounting equation, right? To provide the answers, use a format similar to one given below. So you know what to do first. You need to copy this table into your answer sheet. And then you need to write the impacts of each transaction. Right, so I'm going to answer on the paper itself. Okay, right, look at the first transaction. Purchase in a stock of goods of 20,000 rupees on credit. So this is simply a credit purchase of stock. So what happens? Stock of goods increases by 20,000 rupees. And then what else? This is a credit purchase. So in that case, creditors also increase by 20,000 rupees. Very easy. Neither. Right. Next one. Paying employees salaries of 3,000 rupees. Right. Now this is an expense. So what happens? Definitely cash decreases by 3,000. And then equity also decreases by 3,000 because of this expense. We know that expenses lead to decreased equity. Okay. Right. Third one, selling a stock of goods this much in cash, which cost at this much. So this is where a profit incurs, a transaction where a profit incurs. So how to write this? How to write the impacts of this transaction? You need to decrease the value of stock by 40,000, and this is a cash sale. So in that case, you need to increase the cash value by 50,000 rupees. And then you need to increase the value of equity by the profit amount. What's the profit amount? 50,000 minus 40,000, and it is 10,000. So the equity value should be increased by 10,000 rupees. Right, these are the impacts, and the marks are half mark for the first one, again for the next one, but for the last one they have given 1 mark. Okay, 1 mark. Right, let's move on to the next question. Indicating the balances of the following items as at 7th of January. Now, what is this balance? This is closing balance. 7th of January means at the end of the first week, after the above transactions in the business. Right, so you need to find them the closing balance of cash as well as closing balance of equity. Okay, right, now concentrate on the column cash. What is the opening balance of cash? It's given up in the question. Here, the cash balance is 30,000 rupees. So you can write 30,000 here and try to calculate the closing balance. So 30 minus 3, it's 27. 27 plus 50 should be 77,000 rupees. Right? Now, when you write your answer, you can write the answer like in the previous question. Can you remember? Like this way. Or you can just straight away write the answer. Now, here I'm going to write the answer straight away. Cash value equals how much? Rupees 77,000. And then what about the equity value? Now here, what's the opening balance of equity? Now for this again, you need to refer the opening balances given. Here you are given the assets opening balances as well as liability opening balances. So you can easily find your equity opening balances. How to find it? We know that we can find equity by deducting liabilities from the assets. So what's the total of assets here? Furniture is an asset, stock is an asset, and cash is an asset. So in this case, 250,000 plus 140, how much? It's 300, this is 5, 90,000, and again we need to add 30,000. So it should be 420,000, right? So 420,000 worth of assets. And what about the liabilities? These are the two liabilities. The creditors and the bank loan, 20,000 plus 100,000 means 120,000, right? So what's the difference? It's 300,000, right? So the opening balance of equity is 300,000, right? Now, what's the closing balance then? 300,000, or let's take 300 minus 3 is 297, plus 10 is 307, right? So our value should be 307,000. So I'm going to straight away write here, it's 307,000 rupees. So in your answer sheet, you can say equity equals 307,000 rupees. Okay. Right. Now I'll show you in the marking scheme and how they have presented their answers. Okay. Straight away the final answers also they have mentioned the steps. This is opening balance. From this you have to minus 3,000 and then 50,000. Okay. Or if you have presented the final answer, you're given 1 mark each, right? So here 1 mark, and here also 1 mark. Altogether 2 marks for B, and for A 2 marks. So the total marks are 4 marks. Okay, right, that's it. Okay, hope you understood how to write answers related to accounting equations, especially when it comes to paper 2. Right, in the next paper class, let's look at about MCQs related to accounting equation, and also let's say some questions related to double entry. Okay.